What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.
All right, welcome back, man. We are back for another episode of What the Hell Do I Know? And man, I am so excited that you are all with us here today. Well, I've got my good friend Kevin Wells, and we're going to dive into that. But I think we're at like almost 17,000 subscribers. So thank you, everyone that just, we try to put out things that I think are good for the world, things that I think that hopefully it's funny, hopefully you're entertained, but anybody that's watching online or social media and commenting and DMing, I really, really appreciate you. So thank you so very much for all of your comments and questions, and we appreciate it. So thank you so much. And also, welcome to our Floorzz.com studio. That's FLOORZZ.com. Floorzz.com, they can get you floors in all the continental United States, and I imagine if you pay the freight, they'll send it anywhere in the world. So they got everything. Tell them the jabroni sent you. Today it's just going to be me and Kevin. We got a whole new setup here. This is our studio. You've seen the living room setup. This is a little bit of a kind of kitchen table, just the two of us to talk. Brandon had, unfortunately, a good friend of his passed away, and I know he was really focused on that, B-Money and Juice. I know, we just $10 podcast. We just have people can come on and hang out. But, man, I'm so excited to have Kevin Wells here. And, Kevin, you're with Wells Vision and Laser Eye Center. And I want to dive into everything. I said ophthalmology. Yep. But you're an optometrist. Optometrist.
Yes.
And I know that is, I was telling you that earlier, I was telling you that I didn't understand it was I wanted to spell it O-T-H or something like that. My wife was like, no, it's O-P-H and
O-P-H-T-H. Yeah. Ophthalmology. Yeah.
Ophthalmology. Optometrist. Is that?
Optometrist.
Is
Doctor
that
of
similar?
optometry.
Is that
Yeah,
similar?
it's all about eyes.
Right, but it's O-P-H too?
No, it's O-P-T.
O-P-T and then O-P-H. I mean, man, they really messed this up.
It's hard.
Is it Latin or Greek or what are we talking about?
Latin, Greek.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, man, they made you had to learn how to spell that word, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But ophthalmologists are the surgeons.
Right.
Yeah, and optometrists, we do all the primary care.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Wells Vision and Laser Eye Center, which is at your wellsvisioncenter.com is your website. We're going to flash that up and we'll put it up there. But I want to dive into all that. But before we dive into that, we're going to go into play What the Hell Do I Know with Kevin Wells.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. First question. What is the favorite spot you like to eat here on the Emerald Coast?
Pazzo Italiano.
Pazzo Italiano. Yep. What's your favorite meal there?
It's hard to go wrong with the chicken parm.
Yeah.
The lasagna's good.
Yeah.
So many great dishes.
Their vodka. They've got a vodka.
They have
penne vodka. Alla vodka is so good too. And then their pizzas are great.
Yep.
I don't like to. I like to eat my pizza there.
Yep.
When I take it home, it just does not translate the same way. I'll get soggy, but they're very good.
It's hard to go wrong with anything.
Pazzo is good. Number 2. Did you have a favorite pet growing up?
Yeah, we had a dog. It's mainly my brother's dog.
Right.
Yeah, who's deceased now, but Tor was his name.
Tor.
T-O-R. Yeah.
T-O-R. Tor is his name. Number 3. What was the best Christmas gift you were ever given as a child?
Oh, back in the day, Star Wars was kind of the thing, and it was the kind of a Death Star, kind of a cutout, and it had multi-levels. And you have the action figures, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader with their lightsabers. You could go in and have a little duel with their swords like they did. And that's the one that stands out the most, I think, because that was the biggest thing I think I'd had.
Well, that stuff's gotten crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You go to like the, Hollywood Studios? It has a huge,
at Disney,
Disney has a huge Star Wars area.
Yeah, you got
there.
the Millennium Falcon out there, life-size.
Could you imagine what you were dealing with there compared to what?
Oh, yeah.
Like what you got then, what kids get now are totally different.
Kids don't understand.
No, they don't understand. Number 4, a place you would like to go back to on vacation.
One time we rented a boat in the Caribbean and sailed island to island our own timeline, pull up to, secluded beaches where no one else was around. Such a cool adventure, and that's the first time I really sailed on a boat.
Right.
Before it was all motorboats and the engine and just the silence.
How did you like the sailing? Did you sail some on it?
Oh, yeah.
Did it get, what is it? What were they like tack or they get, it's like almost sideways on it? I mean, you were holding on to stuff up there?
Yeah, we didn't get too crazy.
Okay.
But because the guy who was a captain was trying to teach me and stuff. And he actually was a captain. He was a family member who taught it. So we weren't, he rented the boat for 2 weeks and we went for a week.
Oh my gosh.
Spectacular. And it's just just listening to the water and you don't hear the noise of the engine is so peaceful. You're like, this is unbelievable.
Down there. It's so beautiful. And you're getting into places that cruise ships aren't going.
Right. Sometimes nobody's
deserted.
Deserted.
That's amazing. All right. Number 5, what was your favorite car?
Oh, my favorite.
For your first car.
I'm
sorry, first car.
That's different. First.
That would be that. Yeah, that's exactly.
Things.
Those are two different.
Yeah. First car was a hand-me-down from my parents. Oldsmobile Delta 88, 2-door, brown.
Yep.
Ugly.
Yep.
Yeah. Glad to have a car at 16. Just let me get around. Freedom.
Which they don't make Oldsmobile anymore.
No.
I think Buick. They kind of converged. It was a GM product.
Oh, they're all GM.
The GM. Yeah. Number 7, best part of being a dad.
Daughters.
Yes.
Love having daughters,
Yes.
Yep. Wrapped around their fingers, they get whatever they want.
You are off the hot seat, man.
Cool.
So that was 7 questions, rapid succession. You crushed it, man. You didn't pass on anything. You did a great job. It's super simple here. We've got a nice cabaret for you today because I know you're a cab drinker.
Love the cab.
We've been drinking a little bit of it before we even started, but this is B Cellars. Folks out there, you should definitely check out B Cellars. Little boutique wine there in Napa. They just make great stuff.
It is excellent.
I mean, they have so much in common. Those Napa growers and they're from that area are so good. Mm-hmm. And they're salt of the earth folk.
Yep, farmers.
I've said this before, if you're farming grapes or you're farming peanuts out in Georgia, or if you're in Oklahoma doing corn and cattle or whatever, they have so much in common.
Exactly.
You wouldn't think, a wine drinker, they're snooty wine drinkers.
Drinkers, not the growers.
But not the growers. Now, they love
That's
wine.
hard work.
They love wine. They understand wine. They know what they're looking for. They understand the terroir, what comes out of the dirt and the nutrients and all of these crazy terms because they're so intensely passionate about growing.
Yep. It's all about the growing.
But they just, man, they love family and simple and want to put good out into the world. And I love that about growers and that salt of the earth folks. It's Americana, baby.
Absolutely.
Americana. So cheers. We haven't cheers yet. Cheers. Yeah, absolutely. Cheers. There we go. Well, that's what we needed. We've gotten to know each other from the watering hole.
Yep.
Down around town. I know we actually met before that, COVID.
Right.
And where I've told this story before, but we had a little mishap where we did part of this podcast where it just wasn't recording. So that's all on me, boys and girls. But, man, where we met, though, was I'm going to give out a secret that Sandestin and Burnt Pine may not like, so y'all don't hate me out there, but this is going on anyway, and it's typically just going to be people staying on property. Be kind to the golf course, but after hours, you can take a golf cart on hole 15, and if you go to the tee box on hole 15, it runs alongside Effie Hotel.
Yep.
That tee box has like 15, 20 feet of bayfront property that just looks straight at Mid-Bay Bridge, and it is A-plus
beautiful sunset
view.
Yep.
During COVID, we weren't the only ones meeting up there.
Lots of people, nothing
and
else to
we'd take a couple chairs, bottle of wine, Danielle would come with us, and we'd sit out there and just, that's where I met you.
Yep, hang out.
Hang out, watch the sunset, talk, sit back. I mean, because there was nothing.
We had to lock
This
down.
was during those 6 weeks of lockdown. There was nothing you could do.
Nothing going on.
Nothing going on. But that was a nice. There are some days that I enjoy. I long for the lockdown. Look, business needs to get on. You can't do nothing forever. But there were moments that I definitely had more time with my kids. Yep. I definitely had time to slow down and look at the sunset and do those things and find those secret spots, and run into good folk like you.
Yep.
But a lot of times we were sitting there around town. We meet sometimes over at Craft Bar, and we'll have something to bite to eat, maybe a drink, and the folks there, they just take. I mean, shout out to Craft Bar Grand Boulevard.
Yep.
Heather and her crew, they just rock it out.
They
man.
do.
They know
do
how to take care of you.
Yep.
And secret, folks, take care of the people that are taking care of you. Take care of your bartenders. Take care of your servers. I'm telling you, those they're at Craft Bar. They don't need much. In fact, they'll take care of you no matter what. But if you take care of them, man, I'm telling you, they will red carpet you.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Great place.
crazy how good they'll take care of you if you take care of them. Which maybe that seems counterintuitive that everybody should just serve you and do all that. But I'm telling you, when you treat people really well, it comes back tenfold.
It does.
It really does, especially there.
Yep.
They do such a great job.
Yo. TruNorth Pest Control. They are all over Central Florida, Georgia, and they just moved here to the Emerald Coast. I just switched my service over to them. You got to check them out. Tell them JB sent you. They'll take care of you. We are a bug-free podcast because of them. TruNorth Pest Control. Now back to the show.
But we were sitting there hanging out, talking, and I was sharing with you about my dad who has macular degeneration.
Yep.
Yeah. And you were like, well, when did you have your eyes checked? And never.
Yep. It's genetic.
Never. And you were telling me it's genetic. I need to come in.
Gotta come in.
I have 20/20 vision. I just started doing reading glasses. You're like, well, I can take care of that too.
Yep.
And so went in, had my test, got all through. Everything was good. Everything worked out fine. I do know, and there were these, like, do you know the glasses I'm talking about? They're like these beady like glasses, and it felt like it had different slides, or I don't know. This thing looked like I was putting on, like, it was the weirdest glasses I'd ever put on, but it felt like peripheral vision was what it was trying to. Do you remember that?
Dr. Pelly was doing that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
she did those with me. Yeah. But at any rate, I passed with flying colors. I mean, what do you want? I mean,
you always do.
Yeah, right. They're like, hey, you don't need anything. I mean, I could get this little reader. LASIK would LASIK do the readers? Is that what would do it?
We can fix that.
You would fix it. Yeah. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I mean, I do it here because I'm reading right now, but I could blow this up if I wanted to.
Yeah. Now, you can't get your focusing back per se, but you can do what's called monovision. And that's what I do. My dominant eye looks far away. My dominant eye looks up close, and I don't need readers.
So, because your eyes are just, they adjust to that.
It adapts.
It adapts.
The brain adapts.
That's what you were telling me earlier, man. The brain adapts. But what made you go into optometry?
I want to be
It's
optometry.
Not, optometry. I did have it right. Okay, optometry.
You know what? I shadowed a lot of different types of doctors. I wanted to be a doctor, wanted to serve.
You knew you wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah, of some sort.
Okay.
Wanted to help. But eyes fascinated me. But I looked at everything, primary care, orthopedic, chiropractic, dentist, and optometry, and just things in between. And my hometown optometrist liked his job the best. And he told me, hey, I make good money. I don't have to take call at the hospital. I get called out on the weekends sometimes because we lived in a small town. People knew who he was. If they had an injury, metal in their eye, scratch or whatever. And he's just like, I have a good quality of life. And he really enjoyed helping people. And that was just like, oh, man, that's for me,
Yeah.
And so that's how I got into it.
That's amazing. I mean, it's what I love about it is that he was needed, in the community. I mean, the eyes are such an important part of your sensories.
Yep.
You've got the ears, the eye, right? What is it? I always think head, shoulders, knees, and toes. But I mean, you've got like eyes, ears, nose, taste, touch.
Yep. 90% of what we see is their eyes. How we learn.
That's how we learn. I mean, when you're growing up, you learn to walk because you're seeing other people walk. I mean, you're reading lips.
Right.
I didn't realize how much I read lips. If I turn off the TV and just had to listen, I'm going to miss half of it.
Yep.
In fact, I've gotten to where now, because so many dialects are coming up in different shows, sometimes in different countries and different things going on, I actually will turn the closed caption on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm reading and listening at the same time. Do you do that at all?
Not the closed caption.
You don't do that? You hadn't gotten there yet.
I don't have to do too many things at once.
I got into it. I don't know. Maybe it's that Passion of the Christ. Remember that movie that came out? I mean, that one was closed caption, and within 20 minutes.
Oh, you had to, because they're all speaking Hebrew.
They were speaking Hebrew.
Yeah.
But in 20 minutes, I forgot.
Yeah, you forget. You're just like, it's natural. Yeah.
I just felt like I was hearing it.
Yeah.
As I was reading it. And I think that brought me into the closed caption world.
Mm-hmm.
That and Game of Thrones. I mean, those folks there have such crazy dialect. I didn't realize what I was missing. I went back and rewatched Game of Thrones because I loved it so much. And, we were in a dead season one time on TV. And so I went back and watched Game of Thrones. And my wife and I turned on, I think it was her brother, said, you should do the closed caption. And we didn't realize like the nuances that we were missing.
Oh, yeah.
For, because it's there's kind of like the English dialect. And there were things that I just wasn't picking up in some of these hard, hard pronunciations of whatever the words were. When do eyes typically go bad? Is there like a year? Is there an age? I mean,
you can start off from birth. There's so many things that could go wrong. It depends on a lot of genetics, like you were. I always think of this mom who is a physician who brought her daughter in years ago, and she's like, well, she's about to start school. It's just kind of a thing. We're just getting her eyes checked. But I know she can see as well as I can because we'll go down the road. I can ask her, hey, can you see that? She can see when I can. I was like, okay, well, that's fine. So, she covers her left eye. We're just checking her right eye. She goes down the chart, sees 20/20. All right, cover your right eye. Can't see it. Make it a little bigger. Can't see it. A little bigger. Can't see it. And the mom goes, hey, quit playing around. She's like, Mom, I can't see it.
Wow.
She was 20/20 in her right eye, 2400 in her left. The mom never checked each eye individually. She just kept both eyes open. And the girl no one ever knew she couldn't see out of her left eye. Even she didn't.
The right eye was
because the right eye was taking over, and she just thought, well, this is how everybody sees.
Wow.
Yep. And some kids are really bad in both eyes, and they don't know because they think everyone sees how they do.
Wow.
Because they don't know you're supposed to see leaves on trees, people's faces across the gym, across the classroom, And
you don't talk about it.
And people don't talk about it, and kids in particular. So they all, they all need to come in at least to get checked.
Yeah, no, we started, I think it was my son who he got to where he was having bad headaches. And so we brought him in, and I think he saw you right around the same time. So he got new prescription, and when he's in town, he'll go and, he's in college at Tampa, so he'll come in and get because he had to get a new update. So he had to go and see, I think last summer or something, and get like a new update because his, his aren't getting better. Right. At some point he could do the LASIK, but he's not. Yeah. Some people are scared of that, right? Do you get that a lot?
All the time.
You get that a lot.
Oh yeah, the fear of blindness. Everybody's scared of going blind.
Yeah, but I mean, in LASIK, you're telling them, I'm going to make you see better. Right. And
but they're all like, what if it goes wrong and I go blind?
Okay.
That's the fear.
I know the fear to me was the idea of, for me, it feels like the idea of keeping my eyes open.
Well, we hold it open for you, so you don't have to worry about doing that.
I mean, do people get jumpy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, we call them Valium.
Valium can calm you down. And so
people kind of get, it's not so bad.
Because it's not bad when
it's
you do it.
It's not bad at all.
Right?
And everybody to a T afterwards are like,
that was a lot less than what I made it up in my head.
Everyone makes it out to be this huge thing. Yeah. They're so scared, and they're like, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would imagine it would be it'd be good. My brother was in the military, and when he was in the Marine Corps, they gave him what they called BCGs. Mm-hmm. He went through basic camp. They called it. I said, BCGs.
Birth control glasses.
They said birth control glasses. I said, why is that? And he showed me, and I got it.
Yeah, you'll never get with a girl.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He said, no girls coming around you with these BCGs. Yep. But he was in line to have LASIK, but I think he ended up, rotating out after, he served a tour in Iraq. And
because then you got to add time if they're going to
do it. When they start doing some other stuff, that's exactly right. They'll lock you down for stuff like that. A few
more years.
Were you in the military?
I was.
What service?
I was in the
branch? Army. I didn't. I feel like I knew
the
that.
Army after college, and then I got into optometry school, and then they let me go to that afterwards.
Did you serve as an optometrist in the Army?
No, that was prior to optometry school. So I was a logistics officer after college.
Okay.
And I had to take some other classes to fulfill the prerequisites. So I did that, and then I got accepted. And then at that time, they were drawing down the Army, so they said, you can go, just do the rest of your time in the
There was
National
a
Guard.
large amount of, and that's, kids today don't, maybe they know this, maybe they don't, but conflict, there was a large amount of peaceful time for a period, after kind of Vietnam.
Right.
Were you, right? You were after Vietnam, though, right?
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Vietnam
you were
was when
in
my
that
dad's
peace.
there.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That was your dad. So, so you were in a very peaceful time.
Until
Then
Iraq invaded Kuwait.
That's it. That's
was the
right.
first
Were you
Gulf
in
War.
service then?
I was in ROTC in college,
Wow.
and everything's, hitting the fan at that point.
It was.
And we're all nervous, and they're like, no, if you're in college, stay there. We got this. If something happens and we need you, we'll call
Then
you
we'll
up.
call you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But then my dad was a battalion commander in the Oklahoma National Guard,
Okay.
happened to be in the same town where I was going to college,
Okay.
and they got called up.
Okay.
And so you have the command and control center, the staff. Then you have the companies.
He was called up for Vietnam.
No, for the Gulf War, the first.
Oh, your
Gulf
dad
War.
got called. He was still in service then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Vietnam was like 60s and early 70s.
Yeah. You're right. Okay.
So this was 9.
But he served in the military his whole career then.
30-something years in the National Guard.
In the National Guard.
Yeah, it wasn't active.
Okay. So, but he got called active during that.
They got called
Yeah.
up, but they
Yeah.
didn't take the headquarters unit, which is the command part of the battalion. They took the 3 companies,
Yeah.
and they attached them to active duty companies. So he got called, but didn't go. But 80%, 90% of his troops went.
I grew up very peace. It was peace when I was growing up, and then I remember sometime early in high school, maybe it was like my freshman year, and I went to Jonesboro First Baptist Church. So shout out all those people over at Jonesboro First Baptist Church. But it's a large church in our area, and it was kind of like, we were a mega church before there were mega churches. Truett Cathy and his family came to our church. And a lot of folks that were there just on the south side of Atlanta, and it was a great church, great place to grow up. And I'm one of my closest friends, and really my best friend today is I met in 4th grade there at that church, and so it was a great church to be a part of. But I can remember in like freshman in high school, I think I was, and that conflict was going on. There was a young man that had graduated high school the year before, went into the military. I don't know what branch, probably the Army, and I remember. In youth group talking about praying for his family because he was killed in action.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the first time I'd ever heard of anyone in service being killed in action. Because there was such a long period. In my eyes, and there may have been some minor conflicts and different things going on, but that was a big war. And then my brother was in Operation Iraqi Freedom, which was. Pretty. That conflict, really has lasted,
20 years,
forever.
Years, yeah.
I mean, I think they just pulled some of the last troops. There's probably still troops there somewhere in that region, but he was over there from 9/11, on. I think he was there for a lot of time. Yep. So yeah, that was tough. Well, back to this is where the ADD portion of the show kicks in. The $10 podcast here. So back to eyes. So they can go bad really any time. I mean, do you see people though when they get old like me? You start getting the readers and things like that.
Well, after 40, you have to have the readers because we lose our ability to focus from far to near.
That just happens.
Aging.
That happens with everybody, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's nothing
you can do about
nothing
that.
you can do.
I mean, you get readers. You can do contacts, glasses. Multifocal contacts.
Right.
Progressive in your reader in your glasses.
You can do some things that can obviously just help you out, but then at some point,
you can do LASIK, monovision, one eye distance, one eye near. Yeah.
Is that what you would say for me having to have readers? That's what you would do. You would do.
That's what I do. My right eye
sees
sees far away. My left eye reads. I don't need readers. 54 years old.
That's great, man.
Yep. See great.
Well, you look great for 54. I mean, I know you work out like all the time.
Crazy.
It's insane. How many times do you work out a day?
Well, probably 7 or 8 times a week right now. But I'm prepping for
the competition,
the CrossFit Open.
Yeah,
trying to get to the CrossFit Games.
But you've been like
in the semifinals,
breath from being there.
I mean, close.
Have you aged up into a new category now?
This year, as I'm aging up,
so you are the youngest person in that age bracket.
I will be in the youngest.
That's when
in
you
my
can
age
dominate. This is the time.
This is the time.
This is the time to hit it.
Yep.
I had a friend. I think I told you about this. I had a friend, Brian Shockley, and him and his wife. They owned the gym where I did CrossFit in my 30s. and they owned the gym, and he was at the games, and his best time he finished was when he had aged up. Like when he was at the, because for those of you who don't know, CrossFit, it has an open, which is like really everyone that wants to compete in that. But that's really for the young guys, right?
18 to 34.
You're like, you like after the mid 30s, you're kind of done.
That's why it starts at 35.
Yeah. So 35 to like 40 is a master's, and like 40 to
35, 39, 40, 44.
Yeah,
so it goes in 5-year
increments.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember his increment, but I remember he was like at the oldest of his increment, and he even said, I got the floor white with me.
Yep.
And then he aged up, and he was the youngest of that next bracket, and it was like he made the games.
It's
and
crazy.
And,
you think it wouldn't make that much difference.
But it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of difference when you get older. Like air squats hit differently every year. Every year they hit differently,
burpees,
right? Burpees, all that stuff hit different. Which I hate burpees, by the way.
Everybody does.
Yeah, and rowing.
It's the worst thing ever.
I hate rowing.
Yep. Rows.
Yeah, done with rowing.
The rower.
Yeah, doctor says that's a good thing for me. I lost, I actually in my 40s, I figured out it's a couple years ago. I went to the doctor, my knee blew up on me, and I was doing different things, running and trying to do different exercises, still doing somewhat of a CrossFit, Orange Theory kind of blend at the house, and my knee just blew up on me. I found a specialist out in Pensacola at Andrews Institute, and he did a scan on me. I said, well, you're going to have to do an MRI. He goes, no, this actually tells me all I need to know. I said, what do you mean? He goes, you're bone to bone. MRI's not going to show me anything more. He said, you're bone to bone. You can't run anymore, period. And I said, well, what can I do? He said, well, you can row. And I was like, that's the worst thing. That row machine. I have a Concept 2 row at the house, and I hate that. I hate that joker, man.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Great
what made you get into working out so much?
I think I was just good at it from the start. Mm-hmm. I've been working out since I was 12.
You picked up the movements really well.
Yeah, I think because I wrestled young.
That Olympic weightlifting stuff.
And then you started getting into weightlifting and just was kind of good at it. And, you like to do what you're good at. Mm-hmm. And so I just never stopped. And then when we moved to Destin about 15 years ago, there was some time I had at night as we were transitioning from Oklahoma to Destin, and I was home alone for a little bit. I saw the CrossFit Games on ESPN, and we had seen CrossFit in Dallas, and I thought that was more like a triathlon type stuff. People who endurance and not strength, and these guys were like really jacked. I was like, oh wow, those guys are that's kind of cool. And so I started watching that, and then I contacted the lady here on the local CrossFit gym, and she started talking about functional fitness and everything. And because all I'd ever done was heavy lifting. Yeah. Because that's growing up, that's what you did,
3 sets of 10.
Yeah.
3 sets of 10.
Oh, yeah.
Arms, legs, 30 minutes of cardio.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you get out and you get in the real world and you try to do something functional, and you're spent because you have no slow twitch muscles. It's all fast twitch for strength. And so that intrigued me. And so I started CrossFit, and I thought I was in shape, and just got my
you got
rear
wiped.
handed to me, just getting smoked.
You made that sweat angel on the floor afterwards, right? Where you're laying out, baby.
And then I couldn't, I was so sore. It was hard to walk upstairs. I couldn't even walk downstairs. It was worse. I had to sit on my bottom and slide down the stairs.
Yeah.
Being so sore.
You couldn't even walk.
You don't touch my legs. They hurt so bad.
Everybody remembers their first day of CrossFit. Yeah. I can remember I walked in. So I had a buddy that I was working out. I had done, I think it was LA Fitness for a while, and I had to stop going to LA Fitness. No, anyone that goes to LA Fitness, I don't want to knock it, because again, you can get great fitness. It's just in how you put into it. And so even when we're talking about CrossFit, I think you could do cardio. You could whatever's working for you, and you want to be healthy and you get your heart rate up.
Just do something.
So I'm all for it. I just found that I knew too many people at LA Fitness. So an hour workout would take me like 2 hours, right?
Yeah, because you're talking.
Because I was talking.
Yep.
And my heart rate wasn't getting where I wanted it to.
Yep.
So then when I went to Gold's Gym, and I did Gold's Gym for a while, and man, I got even into some classes. I did some cardio classes. I did different things. I would, and I really tried to stick to myself. But again, I'd start knowing people, and it's that system. Mm-hmm. And a buddy of mine, he stopped going there. And I hadn't seen him in a while, and I was talking to him. I said, well, where are you at now? And he goes, well, I'm starting this thing called CrossFit. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about it. How many people are in it? He goes, well, we might have 20 people in a class. so is this like aerobics? I mean, what are you doing? He's like, no, dude, I'm telling you, this is crazy.
Everything.
He didn't even say the word functional fitness. He didn't say Olympic weightlifting. He just said, you need to come check it out. It's so much fun. It's kind of addictive.
It is addictive.
So I showed up there. And the first day I showed up was Fight Gone Bad.
Oh, that's awful.
Fight Gone Bad. So I don't even know if you probably tell me. I don't even remember what it was, but it was essentially it simulates a 3-round MMA fight by doing I think it's 5 exercises for 1 minute with like a 3-minute break or 2-minute break. So just like a fight is in UFC, you're going to do like overhead squats and power cleans and whatever I don't know all the 5 different,
right.
The stretch of it is where you do 5 different exercises, 1 minute apiece. So you got a 5-minute round or 3-minute round or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It simulates that
rest,
fight.
yeah.
And then you get that rest and you do the 3 rounds of it. But I mean, and they looked at me and told me, they said, well, this is your first day. They scaled me down from a PR, which is your prescribed, recommended weights
RX,
and all that. Some RX. They took me down from your RX. I'm sorry, RX, not PR, RX. They took me down, and they also told me just do 2 rounds. And I said, "Oh man, I've been working out for I've been working out for years. Years I've been working out." And so I did 2 rounds, and man, I sweat angeled. I think it was Halloween weekend. I needed a golf cart to take me around with the kids.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
It was bad.
I'm so glad it was on a Friday I went because I had 3 days to recover before I went back to work out or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but you'll be in the best shape of your life. And you know what's funny is more women do CrossFit than men.
Really?
Yes.
How about that? My wife loved it.
Because I talk to people all the time about doing CrossFit, and they were like, let me get in shape first.
Yeah.
Before I do CrossFit.
There's no way to describe that. You're not going to be able to do that. You literally just have to jump in.
You got to jump in and you just customize the workout to your ability.
Hey, ego is out the door. First off, ego, and I've said it before, ego is not your amigo. And it isn't that in CrossFit either. You throw it out. Then there's workouts where the old guys will get those young guys.
Oh, yeah.
Because you'll have something just in your wheelhouse, right?
Wheelhouse, yep.
But then you'll have those workouts where you're like the last person coming in.
It is so humbling.
It's humbling.
It is. And you'll have somebody, a drop-in come in, you're like, that guy's not much.
And then he'll just smoke everybody.
Oh,
Hell yeah, he will.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, he will.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like, it is so humbling. You can't judge anybody. It's just like, just go with it. It's, it is what it is.
You put in the work though.
Put in the work.
Hey, do you know the ones at the CrossFit gym that aren't counting reps?
Oh yeah.
I know. We all know them, baby.
Yeah.
We all know. Every gym has them.
They have the cheaters.
You're like, you're only cheating yourself, man.
It doesn't matter. And I don't care if people beat me in the workout.
There are times that it does matter because you're like, I know you didn't beat me.
Yeah. But if all things being equal, because we have women in my gym that beat me all the time.
Sure.
They're fantastic athletes. And it pisses me off, but I'm like, that just makes me better.
Is that it?
I just want to push harder. You go harder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, there are certain workouts. I mean, I don't do CrossFit anymore now because I have these knee problems.
It's not an excuse.
I mean, well, you're probably right.
It's not.
I don't want to have to row 500 meters when everybody else is running 400 meters.
You can bike. You can do ski.
You could do the bike. I don't like biking either, though. I found out that I'm allergic to it. I don't like skiing. I don't like any of it. I don't want to do any of it. I just want to do.
That's a personal problem.
That's right. You're right. I got to get back into it though. I do stuff. I'm doing stuff at the house and incorporating in. We've got the Peloton now, and got a treadmill. The Peloton's not as good, but it can get pretty intense. It can get pretty intense, but then you throw in weights after it. So you're getting the cardio and you're getting the weights. And I've done a lot of swim too. So swimming has been very good.
Great.
Swimming's great. Yep. Now, I'm not right now. It's cold, so I'm not swimming right now.
Oh, come on.
But it's a little too cold for me, brother. I'm doing inside stuff now. I've got a challenge with my kids right now. We're doing like a body percentage weight loss sort of thing with the kids, and we're seeing who can lose the most in 90 days. So percentage of body weight, not because it's not fair. It's not fair with guys and girls. And I've got a son and 2 daughters, so I want and I'm giving them
young,
little workouts. And they can do stuff. They should do stuff. I just want to get them in healthy habits too.
Absolutely.
They're great kids, but if you don't start building those habits now, it's so hard. Mm-hmm. And I've gone seasons where I've worked out like a fiend, and then I've got seasons where I didn't do anything.
Yep.
And so you that's where my wife gets on to me because she's like, I want you around. You got to do stuff.
Got to be healthy.
Yeah. So again, back to the eyes. What is the number one thing people do wrong when they're thinking about your eyesight?
So they think just because their eyes feel okay and they see okay, they don't need to come get their eyes checked.
Right.
Because
that's how I was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because eye disease, if you wait till your vision isn't that good and it's because of a disease, then it's hard to get it back.
Right.
You may not get it back.
Right.
I mean, it's different if you're, a little nearsighted, farsighted, and glasses fix that. But if it's a disease process like macular degeneration, glaucoma, and cataract, stuff like that, it's really hard to get it back, and you may lose it permanently. So just come and get them checked. Especially if you have a family history, like you said, of macular degeneration in the family. Your father. That's a high risk factor.
Well, that's what you told me, and you have things to test whether it was gonna
right.
If it is showing up, I mean, it could still show up, but right now I was clear, which is good. But my dad's getting the shots in his eyes,
right.
which you were saying is actually probably good because that can do so much help for you,
right?
If you have the other way,
blind or can see something,
right?
Yeah, the shots are pretty good, as bad as they sound, and they are as bad as they sound,
right? I imagine so.
At least you can preserve some vision.
Yeah.
But early detection's the key.
Is the key.
Yep.
And if you don't get in early, then it's hard to reverse it once it starts, right?
Once it starts, yeah. We have a test that can predict your likelihood of getting macular degeneration 3 years out. That's very specific.
Right. One of the things, what are some of the things people do? Because, we were talking about this earlier. I've had toothaches before, and I tell people this. I grew up with my teeth came in without enamel, so I had lots of different work, and so I've done a lot of like the cosmetic stuff and the crowns and all these different stuff. And I had a tooth in college go bad in the back, and I didn't have the money to pay for it, and so I ignored it, which is why I'm so harp on people. Like, if you have a problem, you got to get on it. It's like a bad toothache; it ain't going away. And so this one, I thought it went away, and it just came roaring back on me, and I had to get it pulled, and I can remember when he pulled it, like, immediately.
Yep.
This release.
All the pain's gone.
All the pain's gone. But what are some of the things that we do as people? Because I know, if you don't brush, you don't floss, you can have all these different cavities and gum disease, and, you can be a smoker, you can do certain things. Like, what are some things that we do, though, as people that can hurt your eyes that we should do?
Smoking is one of the worst things.
Is it?
For sure, yeah.
It messes your eyes.
Yes.
How in the world? Because I feel like we're lungs. I feel like you're, maybe mouth.
Yeah, it increases your risk of macular degeneration exponentially, especially if there's a family history. Yes. Smoking is just terrible for everything.
Well, it is. It is bad. Yeah, smoking's bad.
Horrible thing.
Don't be a smoker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just got to get your eyes checked, regularly. Not every year, maybe every couple of years if you see pretty well, but, your eye doctor can tell you that.
I told this story last season. I was in Vegas one time, and this lady walked up to me and Danielle. We were on the street walking to casino, whatever, going to go show. We were just walking about. She walked up to me and she said, "Do you have a cigarette?" I was like, "No, I don't have a cigarette." And she just looked at me like I was bad.
Yeah.
Like, "You don't have a cigarette?" And I was like, "Look here, man, that's not like 9 out of 10 doctors. 10 out of 10 doctors will tell you don't smoke. It's bad for you. There's not 9 out of 10. It's not 7 out of 10. It's 10 out of 10. Yep. Tell you, like, I'm not the crazy one here.
Yeah,
like,
you're the crazy one.
I'm like, what are you talking about? But if you're watching this and you're a smoker, I know, look, it got addicted. It got into you. You got to break it down. Nobody's judging you here. But it's not good. It's not good for you. Yep. So get some help. Figure out how to do it. Get a patch. Get gum. Go to a psychiatrist. I mean, like, I think it affects. I didn't even realize it affected your eyes.
It does. Yeah.
I had no clue. What about like solar eclipse? Don't look at it.
Don't look at it. Even with those little plastic glasses they sell you for $2.
Definitely don't look at it with those glasses, right?
You don't know where they're from, if they work. It's so bad, and the damage you can do is irreversible. What about like the
cereal box where you look through and you make a thing and it? Have you ever seen almost like a telescope?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
You don't even do it.
I don't do it.
The risk reward's bad.
The risk reward is so bad, because if you get something that doesn't work, doesn't protect you, it's irreversible. The damage is done forever. Mm-hmm. There's no treatment for it. You burn your retina, and you're looking in the central vision because you're looking right at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just no help. Just don't do it.
Don't.
I mean,
Do
it's
the solar
cool,
eclipse.
you know.
Is there like a sheet? What is it you were telling me that you can do a sheet of paper or something?
Yeah, you like put binoculars and reverse it onto a sheet of paper so it's showing the where the eclipse is on the paper.
Google it.
Just, let someone else
It's not
record
cool
it.
enough to do this, right?
Yeah.
You could record it with your phone, I guess, too, couldn't you? You could set it up. And
I guess you could, but as long as you're not looking at it.
as long as you're not looking at it, that's the thing, right?
That's the thing is you don't look at it.
Because I always felt like when the moon covers over it, then the sun's less powerful. But you're telling me that
the rays that are coming are still so powerful,
and they're still
looking
coming.
at it, and it's frying your retina. It's looking,
and there's nothing to do to fix that.
There's no cure for that.
No cure for it.
No.
That's
and the
nuts.
same with laser pointers. People point laser. Oh, hey, this can't be that bad. And you look at it. Kids do that.
Well, they do it to other friends, right?
Yeah.
Like they're up at the board and they sort of point the laser at their eye. That's no good either.
You're right.
Wow.
So, I mean, they're low enough where if you blink quick,
yeah,
it's okay. But people who look back at it, it's not.
So
good.
don't do the laser
don't
stuff
do the
either.
laser pointers. Don't look at it because kids will like, oh, it's not that bad, and look at it.
No.
You're frying your
retina, and you can't get it back.
There's no cure.
We just don't know about it. I mean, it's what is it? The use wasted on the young, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, it's just like you just don't know what you don't know.
You don't know
that's
what you don't know.
one of your biggest challenges, I think. Those of you, and we've got a big audience. Our audience goes from like 17 to 44. It's like 85%. I was just checking it. It's almost like 86% of our audience is 17 to 44. So I know we've got young people out there listening. And listen, there is no judgment on you because we love you. And when the fact that you're listening to this at all and us jabronis over here, I think is so great. Again, we're just a $10 podcast, but the things Kevin is saying here at Kevin at Wells Vision, this was Wells Vision and Laser Eye Center. Yes, I know it's because I know it's like WellsVisionCenter.com is the website, but Wells Vision Laser and Eye Center. Laser Eye Center, yeah.
Because we do LASIK.
You do LASIK, right. But the things he's saying is just so stinking important to focus on that stuff.
Yep.
You gotta make sure you take care of your eyes because you only get 2 of them.
You only have 2.
They don't come back.
They do not come back.
They don't come back. When I was 5, my mom took me to this lady's house. It's like a family friend. We were living in Maryland, and I feel like it was ethnic food. I don't remember. The only reason I remember that I just remember this pungent smell, which just didn't seem like Hamburger Helper to me, or hot dogs or something as a kid. Yeah. And so I felt like it was something that had a smell to it that I don't remember if it was good or not, right? I just remember it was like, wow, that's a lot, a heavy smell. That stuck out. And the other thing is playing in their backyard, I had a wasp go right into my eyeball.
Yep.
And I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. And I think my mom told me to pull the eyelid out and flushed water in.
Yep. You got to flush it.
And is that what you did? Did we
Absolutely.
follow the right thing?
Absolutely. Yep. Anytime you get anything in your eye, flush it.
Right.
Chemicals, foreign body, anything, just flush it as much as you can.
But you don't want like hard pressure. You just want like
pressure,
under the
rinse.
hose or under the sink and just let it just run on you. Pull the eye out, open it up, eyelid out, let it flush out. You were just telling me about a guy that came into your office today.
Yeah.
Right?
Today.
About an issue.
Came in, just horrible pain in his eye. Every time he blinks, he can feel it and just, need to get worked in. So I came in and talked to him. And he's like, yeah, oh my gosh, my eye hurts so bad every time I blink. So I looked at him. You put the dye in, you can see where it was scratching his cornea.
Wow.
But there was nothing in there. So I'm like, okay, it's under his lid. It's in his lid.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to flip his eyelid.
So opening the eyelid upside down.
Yeah, flipping the lid upside down. And just from the beam of the slit lamp, the microscope we look, I could see a reflection. And right in that right spot. So I took the Q-tip, I kind of, got it out, and I had him back up, and I looked at it on the microscope, and there is one single grain of sand that was clear silica.
Which is the white sugar sand that we have
white
here.
Sugar sand, yeah. And it's clear, and it's quartz, so it's very sharp.
That's right.
And it was just raking across his corner every time he blinked. And I was like, have you been to the beach? He's like, no, but I was golfing yesterday. I was in the sand trap, and it was very deep, and I had to hit it hard, and all this sand come up in my face. And, it's the white sand they bring from the beach. They put in the sand trap. So same stuff. Yeah. Yep. So it's just buried in there. And Ron took it out after I flipped his lid back over. He's like, oh, that's much better.
And that will heal.
It'll heal up. Yeah, the top layer of the cornea is the fastest healing part of the body. And
Now-
so just tears, it'll heal up in a day.
Hey, y'all, new customer of TruNorth Pest Control here on the Emerald Coast, Central Florida, Georgia. You got to check them out.
Yeah, they get rid of all the unwanted pests in your house, including termites and mosquitoes. Tell them the jabroni sent you. Back to the show.
That's what you've told me this before, but the eye is so powerful.
So strong.
And
Yep.
when something goes dormant, or if your left eye is bad, your right eye will compensate for it.
Yep.
And even if you were to lose an eye, your right eye will. You were saying there was a guy at your gym.
Yeah.
That deals
yeah, I
with
work out
this.
with. Yep. Has a prosthetic eye. But if you look at it, you would never know.
Right.
Yep.
Because they've come a long way in advancement in technology in the eyes. I
Yep.
mean,
prosthetics. And,
yeah.
Yep.
What
'Cause
is-
you can't replace the eye. But
no,
you
because
can-
I was going to ask you. We've seen movies and different things like that.
Yeah.
But that's just Hollywood.
That's Hollywood. You can't do
Nobody's replacing eyes.
No, not yet.
What is it when I say I want to be a donor? What am I donating on the eye?
You're donating your cornea, the clear part on the front of the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll take that out. And if someone has a disease where their cornea is misshapen or isn't quite clear, they can take it out and put the donor cornea in, suture it in.
Wow.
Yep.
So it's just that's the layer on the outside.
That's the clear part on the
clear
outside.
part on the outside. And they have pretty good success with that.
Very good success.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're not a donor, it's really easy. You should become a donor. You can check it on your license when you go into the DMV.
Yes.
But be sure to tell somebody around you that, hey, I'm a donor. Let your mom, your parents know. Let a spouse know, girlfriend, whatever. Let people know you're a donor. That way if something, look, nobody wants anything bad to happen to you, but if you're not here, you don't need all this stuff.
Yep.
And so
try to help somebody else out that needs
we
it.
should absolutely. That's an easy way to be generous, for sure. Because you can't take this body with
take
you.
it with you. Yep.
You
Don't
can't
want
take
to.
this body with you. I don't want to. I don't want this. This thing's falling apart.
That's right.
You just said that I have to have readers, which I do. And everybody has to have this stuff after 40. Your eyes start going bad.
They do, yeah.
I know. I'm
That's why
40,
bifocals are
48, and it's not getting any better.
Nope.
So, that's crazy. Actually, I'm 47. I always age myself up. I'm stopping doing that. I've been aging myself up for a minute, but but it started when you're 21. I wanted to be 22. When I was 22, I wanted to be 23. Once I hit 40, I've started slowly going like, no, I'm really in my age. I don't want to age up anymore. So do you get caught in what are the things that you look for in vision? Because we've talked about a lot about kind of the eyes and what goes into the eyes and how powerful the things that we need to do and how we should get tested and eye protection, I'm sure, is super important. I think as guys, we don't do that enough, right?
To protect your eyes. Yeah.
I mean,
doing yard work or whatever
right.
you're doing. Yeah. You got to protect them.
Do you wear like stuff on, like if
Absolutely.
you're so clear eye protection sort of thing? Or?
Yeah. Either clear or from outside, sunglasses. Or polycarbonate, shatter resistant, something.
You got to have something on your
Gotta
eyes.
have something. Because
I know.
I mean, see it all the time. Something comes in,
dust, you're out just sawing something or whatever.
something,
Yeah.
something from the mower kicks up and hits you in the eye.
Oh, when I was younger, you just start doing stuff and you're underneath somewhere and you wonder,
yeah.
why am I drilling up and sawdust is coming in
just
my
falling
eyes?
down on you.
Yeah, it's so bad. And now I'm more cognizant. I actually have like some, because they're not super expensive. You can go to Home Depot and get some of this stuff.
The safety glasses.
The
are very
safety
cheap.
glasses aren't expensive, but I don't know. Just for a long time, I didn't. Those are things practically we can do to protect our eyes.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. And you guys have such a beautiful facility. You're there on Highway 98, and you're also on 331 in Walton County, right north of South Walton High School on that side.
South of the bridge, north of the high school.
South of the bridge, north of the high school, and then you're at on 98. You're close. You're not quite across from the Destin Commons.
Yeah,
but
a
you're
little
close.
further east.
A little further east from the
not
Commons.
quite to where the Destin Surgery Center is.
Yeah.
It's kind of there in the middle.
Yeah. And again, it's Wells Vision and Laser Eye Center. That's wellsvisioncenter.com is where we can find you.
Yep.
And so these guys will take care of you. The Mecca, though, is on 98.
Yeah,
I mean, you
that's
have
the main office.
You have so many great glasses there, and you do. If you go there and you can't find glasses for your head, I don't know where you'd find them.
I don't know where else you're going to get.
Yeah. But you have, of course, the lenses that people can get. My son gets lenses there. You can get the lenses for eye, just regular glasses. But you have sunglasses, and you can do regular or
glasses,
prescription, right?
Yep. And
like
we can do
you got
lenses
Maui
for
Jim and
for
all
people
this
who
stuff.
have trouble with the eyes lining up together.
Yeah.
And have strain on computer and electronics.
Mm-hmm.
We have special lenses we can test for and prescribe for that as well.
Really?
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about this. What is that? What are you talking about?
Well, because a lot of people, their eyes don't line up where they need to. They want to be focused kind of further out than where they need to be. And they're straining to kind of pull their eyes in together to not see double. And then that causes a lot of strain and stress in the whole visual system. And so they kind of lose the ability to see or comprehend everything they're trying to read on the computer or whatever. And at the end of the day, their eyes hurt or they have headaches or something, or eye strain. So we have a measuring device that can measure the eye alignment.
Right.
And we can prescribe for that to help the eyes align where they need to be and take the stress off. And so you're not so tired or worn out or, feeling so bad at the end of the day.
Well, the one thing that I felt like has helped me, at least for readers, and it's one thing that I do enjoy the readers for, is on computer work. Mm-hmm. Just because I do the blue light.
Yes. Yeah.
Some blue light. That blue light protection, I think, has made me not feel as tired.
Yes, exactly.
Because we do so much blue light stuff
much blue
now,
light.
right?
Yeah.
Everything's blue light. Now, do you continue to, I know you're constantly upgrading all of your stuff in your office, because aside from being an optometrist, you're also an entrepreneur.
Yep.
I mean, you have a business, and you're constantly trying to grow it. You're constantly trying to bring new things in that can better your patients' lives. I mean, what are some of the new technology that you see out today in eye care?
A lot of it's the wide field imaging. So we can take a picture of the entire retina in the back without having to dilate somebody to actually have to look.
Okay.
That's people like that because no one likes to get dilated.
No one likes to get dilated. You can't see for a minute.
For 4 hours, and everything's really bright. That helps. And then we have imaging of the retina.
Yep.
Look for a disease and stuff, and blood flow and functionality. The dark adaptation, like we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the part that I think we don't realize, and I know you've hit on this before, but that, for people that I went my whole life 20/20 vision, didn't need readers until I was in my 40s, and like I said, we were sitting there talking, and I'm going I was telling you about my dad, and you're like, dude, when have you had your eyes checked? I was like,
gotta get them
they gave me a chart on a wall, and I could read it all. And you're like, that's a driver's test. That's not an eye test. But I love how you big into the preventative. Because we bought in the macular, like the MacuHealth and all of that to really help prevent if there is going to be anything, right? I don't, right. Well, I don't know. And I don't want them.
Don't want them.
And I'm getting older. Not getting any younger. So I've got to take care of that stuff.
Yeah, you got to nourish that part of the retina. Yep.
For sure, man. I want to jump into a little bit of a different thing, because we're talking about vision. And I know you've got to look. One of the things I thought was interesting, and we were saying this earlier, you have a lot of new patients coming into the area, right? Yep. And so you're planning, I'm sure you're looking at expansion. I mean, one of the things we have in our area is we do have lots of dentists.
Yep.
Well, if I were to go from Destin proper to, just outside of Santa Rosa Beach, I mean, I don't even know, 12, 15.
There's a bunch.
Mm-hmm. I care 4.
And not that many.
And there's not going to be many that are local.
Yep.
You're one of 2 probably in Okaloosa. Maybe if I counted Walton County, there may be 3 in all of them. These are some of the largest counties in our. These are some of the largest counties by volume in our state. I mean, Walton County goes from the beach to Alabama.
Yep.
And how in the world? And you're local, and I love dealing with local people because, we know you, we see you around. Like I said, we converse, and I know you care about the community that you're in, but you're seeing a lot of new patients now from all out state.
Yep.
Is that, I mean, how do you see this county continuing to grow?
Walton County's really growing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. All the new construction out that direction. The apartment complexes, there's several going up.
But how are we going to bring in professionals? Because I know you can't see everybody's eyes by yourself.
No, we need more professionals. And everyone complains about the lack of doctors.
Right.
There's no primary care doctors you can get into anymore.
It's super hard.
Super hard.
I had a new guy that moved from Alabama, and he's at Origins. I love him, Kenneth Tucker, MD, man. I love him over there. He does such a great job, and because I needed a physical. And so, because I get my eyes checked, I'm like, I hadn't had a physical in forever. And so, I went and saw him, and immediately he scheduled me for like the colonoscopy and all these other tests, which is great. Everything was good. I went for my physical again, my second one this year. I'll go again next year. So I'm getting on a regular routine with him as well. But he moved down here, and he was accepting new patients. I mean, I think I got a tip early.
Oh, you must
jumped
have.
on. I mean, I jumped on him before anyone else. No hesitation from me. So that you're right, primary doctor.
Yeah.
How do you think we
I have
attract
patients in
people in?
Destin that have to go to Crestview to get primary care.
How do we attract more people in down here? What do you think's the thing to do?
I don't know.
I mean, because affordable housing's kind of
Housing's not
tough.
affordable.
It's not super
expensive
affordable.
to live here.
Yep.
It's great to vacation here. It's
Sure.
not so great to live here sometimes.
Sure. I mean, we gotta figure that out. I mean, the other side of the bridge, there is some more, economical, but that's getting high.
Niceville's expensive.
Freeport's getting,
Blue-water?
but
Yeah.
they had that
Freeport's.
subdivision over there at Freeport. They built that huge place over there. It's beautiful. I can't even think of the name of it now. And I have friends that bought into it early, but somebody's telling me the prices of those homes are going through the
Go
roof.
way up high. Yep.
Yeah, it's super hard to live down here, but it is a great place to live.
It's a great place to
It's
live.
a great place to live, but we're going to do that.
Yeah, you got to pay for it.
Do you feel like you're a shortage of eye doctors, though?
There is.
How long is it if I want to get into your office?
About a month.
So that's not the worst.
Yeah.
But at least I'm getting in.
If it's an emergency, we'll get you in.
I know that. I know that about you.
Yep.
But that's better than primary care. Like you said, primary care, you can call them up and they're not accepting new patients.
Sorry. Go somewhere else.
I'm full.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. So when you talk with your girls, because I know you've got two girls. You've got one down at Miami. You've got one working here doing stuff. How do you get them to look ahead for the future? Because you're looking ahead. You're looking at people coming in. You're bringing in new things into your office, and I know you're constantly looking about vision.
Yep.
How do you get them to look ahead?
You just try to set them down and make a game plan, long-term goals, intermediate goals, short-term goals.
Mm-hmm.
And they each have their own, and where they want to do what it takes to get there or not, it's up to them. But I have one that is really focused.
Yeah.
And is working towards that. And I have one that wants it or has a goal, but doesn't know she really wants it. So,
She's not sure where. Maybe she's still trying to find herself.
trying to find herself. Yeah.
Well, the good news is you're young.
Yeah.
So
and
you
that's
don't
the thing,
have to.
because
You
they
don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah, and they don't. And that's the thing with her. She thinks I'm running out of time.
Oh no.
I'm like, you're 20.
No.
You have nothing but time.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I mean, I've I went and did career day the other day at South Walton High School, and I had such a fabulous time meeting with them. So shout out Seahawks, man! All the classes that came in, and they had some great questions, and it was so much fun. My daughter, though, asked me when I told her, and she goes to Ohana, but she plays tennis at South Walton, so she has friends she's on the tennis team there, but she has friends that play, and she said, well, Dad, what career are you going to talk about? Because I've done so many, we were sanitation, I do investments, and then, I'm podcasting, I do a lot of social media stuff. And so she's like, well, what career are you going to talk about? And that's the interesting thing. You can continually reinvent yourself. And people are living so much longer.
Yep.
Used to you're 50, you have one career. Mm-hmm. You can have multiple careers. Yep. You can do different things. You can switch gears and go in a different direction if that's not working, and you can pivot.
Absolutely.
And so, and people go to college later. People don't have to go to college either.
You don't have to go to college.
The best entrepreneurs I know didn't go to college.
Right.
So
did Elon go to college?
No.
I don't think so.
Zuckerberg dropped out. I mean, you
Yeah.
have so many. Truett Cathy did a commencement speech one time at a local college near us. And a buddy of mine, his son was graduating. And so we went, and in his commencement speech, he told everybody, he said, look around you. He said, you very well won't be entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Because most of the entrepreneurs are the ones that they didn't eat.
Right.
When you don't eat, you got to work hard. You ain't got an excuse. Mm-hmm. It's something I'm constantly telling my kids. Like, there's somebody out there that's not eating, and when they're not eating, they're going to out hustle you.
Yep.
That hustle can get real. So if you're out there and you're watching this, it's not over because you don't go to school. In fact, you may have a drive inside of you that others don't have. And then if you are in college, listen, hopefully this conversation will spark you to say, I need to have a fire inside me, because there's always somebody that's out hustling you.
Yep.
There's always somebody that's doing it
Somebody's
somewhere.
working harder.
Well, it's like this CrossFit game. Somebody's out there
Somebody's doing
working
extra.
8 days a week, or doing 16 days. One in the morning, one in the evening.
Yep.
I mean, I read when I was really gearing up for a triathlon. I did this workout. I did a triathlon once, and it was just a sprint. It wasn't anything crazy. So it's like I don't even remember, 500-meter swim, like 13-mile bike, and like a 5K at the end. So it was a sprint, and then and that's almost all I want to do. I mean, that's swimming with people kicking your face is what I envision. Well, it's also what I envision waterboarding being like. I mean, you got legs hitting you and arms hitting you. Yeah. It's crazy. And so I did a CrossFit workout, though, that I would do a workout in the morning and then like a sprint thing in the afternoon. So it's kind of heavy lifting. I pulled my weights back a little bit, but then I was doing a bike in the afternoon sometimes, or just sprints. That's all I did was this workout for like 6 months, 2 days.
Yep.
And I was prepared. In fact, I could have done probably, I don't know a full, but I probably could have done the half triathlon.
Yep.
At that point in time. And I didn't run 5 miles ever. I didn't bike 13 miles ever, but I was just, that heart rate, that intensity from that CrossFit, 2 workouts a day got me.
It's cardio.
Prepared. That cardio.
It's all about the cardio.
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly. Well, people think you don't do cardio in CrossFit. That's all.
No, it's all cardio.
Your heart feels like it wants to come out of your
weights,
chest.
You lift weights fast.
It feels like it wants to come out of your chest. Man.
Oh yeah,
for sure. You got daughters and all that, but we've had a chance to really get to know each other at moments. And I know life's not always easy. I mean, you've got these two, the centers, and life seems to be good. Although I've said it here before, there's 3 stages in life. You're either in a problem, coming out of a problem, or going into a problem.
Yep.
I mean, every time my wife and I feel like things are going well, one kid will call from college or something, and it's like, oh man, and the anxiety goes up, and it's like, well, let's talk about it, Yep. But I know you face challenges in life, and life's not easy. And I know you shared with me you lost a brother.
Yep.
Early, though, right?
Yeah, I was in college.
Was it older brother or
younger brother?
Younger brother.
Yeah, he was 17, and so this is when my dad was the battalion commander of the National Guard unit in the town I was going to college, and his sergeant major for the battalion happened to be the dean of the university. And so one Sunday morning, friends and I were coming out of a restaurant we went to eat, after kind of being out Saturday night. And the Dean Snow, came up and said, Kevin, I need to talk to you. Okay. Sergeant Major.
Yeah.
He's pretty rough.
Yeah.
And he didn't hold back. He's like, your brother killed himself last night. Your parents sent me to get you and get your stuff and take you home. Wow. Just like that.
That was it.
I mean, just smacked me upside the head. I was like, well, what? What would you say?
And that's so finite.
Oh, yeah. And it was such a surreal. I mean, then you go into just, lockdown, survival mode. Just, everything's just surreal.
Your parents, no parent should outlive their child.
Yeah, no, it's a horrible thing.
Especially when the life, just there's so many questions.
Yeah.
Something like that happens.
Yeah. So I went and packed up, and, and he drove me to the house, which is, about an hour and a half away.
Right.
And, it was an awful thing.
That's terrible.
Terrible.
And I know, life's throwing you different curves. I mean, I know we've talked about your divorce and going through that, and that's, we don't need to get into the details there, but that ain't no fun.
That's no fun.
I mean, you got collateral damage with your daughters and the things that they go through, and the yin and yang pull.
So bad,
it does.
Yeah.
And nobody, listen, kids. And I know nobody ever says, look, I want to get married, and then I hope, 15, 20 years in, we just split up and just wreck the whole thing, right? Yep. Nobody starts off that way.
Nope.
Nobody starts off that way.
On that.
Nobody plans that. In fact, with my children, I think to them, I wouldn't wish that on them. I pray for their spouse.
Yep.
I'm praying for them, and I'm now praying for their spouses that they don't have.
Right.
Because I want them to find somebody, that's what we want, right?
Yep.
Find somebody that they're with forever.
Yep.
But it doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work.
But the best thing is, not hold grudges.
Yeah.
And let the past be the past.
Yeah.
And try to be the best for the kids.
Yeah.
And we came to that conclusion, fairly soon afterwards. And that helped a lot.
Yeah.
But it did take a toll on the girls.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's no way it can't. There's just no way it can't. There's no way it can't. With going through these different, and I know there's other things in your past we've talked about, and I got the okay to talk about these things because I wanted to let you know, I wanted to ask some of that because I know that people can look at you and say, hey, man, this guy's got, Wells Vision and Laser Eye Center, and he's doing really great, and you are, and you've got great things going for you. But sometimes you can get just smacked in the face.
Sometimes it hits you upside the head.
You just feel like you just took 5 steps back.
Absolutely.
And what is it how do you keep your faith, or how do you cling to your faith? Because I know we've also talked about that. Mm-hmm. And how do you hold on to that, or does your faith hold on to you?
Well, it holds on to you. Early on, before I really understood a lot of that, especially when my brother died, you're like, the obvious questions come up. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you let that happen and stuff, And then you start questioning, okay, is he going to go to heaven? Did he take his own life? Does that condemn him to hell? And, there's so much questions about that. I don't know.
Sure.
The answer to that, but
the versions I read says he's in heaven. That's the versions I read.
Yeah.
That's the versions I read and understand. Because I once you know Jesus, he says nothing can take you out of it.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah, and if you have the demons in you so bad that it convinces you.
Mental health is something that we are just now starting to scratch the surface.
Right. Yeah. So he had some demons in there, and
sure.
Talking bad and convincing that he would be better off not
here. Yeah.
And that was too bad, but then I went through the Freedom course through Destiny Worship Center after my divorce, and realized you carry a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
And once you're going to release that baggage, and drop it at the foot of the cross and, let Jesus carry that for you, it really lightens the load a lot. And you realize you're carrying the stuff that you didn't need to, that he already died for that for you. You just got to understand it.
Died for your past, your present, and your future issues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so once you understand that and can let it go, it really frees you up in a lot of ways.
Kevin, that's strong. That's so strong, Kevin. I'm going to give you the
brilliant.
I give you a little brilliant note. I mean, I know that's Jesus and not you, Kevin.
Exactly.
But
other people sharing it with you and guiding you.
I definitely think. In fact, when I go through hard things in life, I often think, how would I go through this if I didn't have Jesus in my life?
It would be very
how could I go through this? And I know, look, and you may be out there and say, well, I've done hard things and I didn't need Jesus and some fairy god. I get it, but I'm telling you, Jesus is so good. If you know the peace you can have in the storm with him, because there's just, and it's hard to describe the level of meditation. It's hard to describe how you can have joy in the moment. It's hard to describe contentment. I just sent my kids, we're doing these workouts, and I was telling you about the fitness challenge we're doing with my kids. And today I sent them is Philippians. Now it wasn't Philippians 4:13, but it's like Philippians 4:11 and 12, which was, I've had plenty and I've had one. I've been hungry and not, but in all things I've learned to be content, because contentment is so important. And I know when you're in school and you're a young person and you've got all this stuff coming at you, and my son's about to graduate, and my daughter, is a sophomore in college, and she's got all these different classes coming at her and new classes that are leveling up her maths, and all of this stuff. And then my youngest is playing tennis, and she's losing certain battles here, and she's winning certain matches here. And then she's got, and then she's having to make decisions to what she's going to do in a year and a half. And that's closing in on her. And all these things can feel like these pressures of the day, a lot like your daughter at 20, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, you've got lots of time, but you've got to find contentment. You need to find contentment and joy. And what most people don't know, and the next one says, for I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And we think about this scripture verse, like Evander Holyfield used to come out fighting, and I think about, bro, I can knock somebody out was what I can do. You know, remember he used to have those purple trunks he would come on in Philippians 4:13, world champion heavyweight boxer Evander Holyfield. But what most people don't know is that Paul wrote this letter to the Philippian and the church in Philemon and the Philippians. He wrote this letter while he was in prison in Rome.
Yep.
And we've had a chance. If I've got a picture of the Mamertine prison, I will post it on this pod. But my family's had a chance. I've gone to Rome a number of times and studying with my wife, and I did a speaking tour in Europe once with some pastors. But my kids have had a chance to go into Rome a few times, and we visited the Mamertine prison, which is right kind of between the Colosseum and the Roman government, head of the government. You can walk it. It's several blocks there. And the Forum, you walk along the Forum, and there's this little spot that's this, I mean, it's almost off the beaten path, this Mamertine prison. But he was dropped into a hole in the ground, no windows. And he wrote that I can do all things through Christ. That whether I've been wanting or not, I've learned to be content, and I can do all things.
Yep.
And if you don't know that spirit and that strength, I want to encourage you to reach out. Like, first of all, you can always DM us here at the Jabronis. You can always DM me. You can see my Instagram. You can email us, whatever it is. I just want you to know that he's that good, and that whatever's been holding you back from that, you should find somebody that professes their faith in a way that you say that it looks good. I get, because that's the gospel, the good news of Jesus. You know,
absolutely.
We get distorted. We're never good at it. Christians are fallible and have all these problems, but that's the peace that gets you through it, right? That's so cool, man.
So cool.
You know, I wrote down actually Deuteronomy 31:8. It said, "Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord will personally go ahead of you. He will be with you. He will never fail you or abandon you," which is something that when you think about these hard times. Later, Paul, a lot of people believe Paul wrote Hebrews. There's some debate about in theology, and I know some of you Bible thumpers out there, you know, you can check me, boo. But, look, I'm just going to tell you we're not 100% certain who wrote it. Some of them be like, we know for sure, Paul. I've had guys debate me about it. God was involved in writing Hebrews and the authenticity of it.
Matters.
But Hebrews 13:5 said, "Don't love money, be satisfied with what you have, for God said," and he throws it back to this Deuteronomy scripture and says, "I will never fail you. I will never abandon you."
Yep.
And I love that when you have history, you know, and then repeating history, and then now here it is, we're talking about that history all these years later. And that's the God we know.
Yep.
And he gets us through these hard times.
He gets us through it.
That's right. Kevin, I want to ask you kind of the last question before we go to the next section. If you could go back in time and talk with the 20 to 25-year-old Kevin, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, man. You know, I thought about that.
I know I did preview a couple questions. I want you to be prepared for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is it's all in your head.
I like that. I want you to elaborate on, because I kind of think I know where you're going to go with this, but I want to hear it.
Because you can do anything you want to if you put your mind to it. I mean, just absolutely anything. You talk about golf.
Yeah.
Golf's the hardest skill.
It really is hard
in the world. And the famous saying is golf is played between the 6 inches between your ears.
Yeah.
It's all in your head.
Right.
And I mean, you look at some of the best of anything in the world. Take Michael Jordan, hands down the best basketball player ever, cut from his high school basketball team.
That's right.
The best thing ever happened to him.
That's right.
Because it gave him the drive to be better and better and better and to try to achieve perfection. Just think of what if he would have made that team.
He might have thought, well, everything's gravy.
Average.
Everything's gravy, baby.
Yeah, he would have played D2 college basketball and probably not even
You're right.
pros, but
never had that drive.
Never had that drive. And he went home and cried to his mom. His mom like, get your butt in the gym and you outwork everybody else. That's what he did, and he realized what that took.
Yeah.
And I always think about, we talk about football, I love playing football, and I'm 5'10", 185 pounds. And I played a year of college football.
All muscle.
Well, I wish. But I listened to the naysayers saying you weren't big enough to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then I become an adult and I see like Wes Welker,
that's
Edelman
a good one.
and stuff.
Yeah,
and those
Edelman,
guys
yeah.
are the same
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
And you're talking about world class,
Athletes.
same size, same build,
People
same
probably
speeds.
told them that they couldn't do it either.
Right, and they didn't listen.
Mhm.
And I look at take like Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Look
right.
what he's
no,
doing,
you're exactly right.
He grew up in Austin.
Well, and was he Texas Tech or Texas
He
A&M?
went to Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
He grew up in Austin, where Texas was.
Yeah.
As an OU fan, which
Right.
is crazy.
Yeah, well, that is crazy.
That is
That's
bizarre.
insane.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so but OU didn't want him, so he went
Yeah.
to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
He saw he was going to be behind Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
And we know who he is.
Done. Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm not going to stay here. So he walks on to Oklahoma. And what happens? He becomes a freaking Heisman Trophy winner.
100% leads Oklahoma into playoffs
Yeah.
and all sorts of things.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And
They had
and
that
that guy
game
is
against Georgia that
such
year. But
a- he's such a hard player.
He
it's all
is.
in his mind.
It's all in his
because
mind.
He's not physically better.
I
than
said this
anybody.
before. Kobe Bryant is a 5-time NBA champion.
Yeah.
But he holds the record for the most missed shots.
Yeah.
And the other one that I thought was interesting is Serena Williams is the 23-time Grand Slam
Mm-hmm.
champion. More Grand Slams than all the men and women
Yes.
in the modern era, for sure.
Right.
And arguably, her 23 Grand Slams stand above, any of the women.
Oh, one of the
for
best
sure.
ever,
One of
if
the best
anything.
ever.
Mhm.
She holds the record for the most unforced errors in a
Yes.
single match.
Right.
These people fell forward.
Right.
It's all in your head.
It's on your head.
The mental side
Roger
of it is crazy.
Federer was giving a commencement speech, and he said, how many games do you think I won percentage-wise
Mhm.
versus what I lost?
Right.
It was barely over 50%.
He
you're like,
he did.
how's he-
It was really important games that he was winning
It was-
too, though.
Yeah, it was
But
like
yeah.
the games he
But-
won
but he-
mattered.
Yeah.
But it was like, you would think he'd be like 75%.
And I guarantee you, he remembers every one that he lost.
Everyone
right?
he lost.
100%.
Absolutely.
Hardly remember the wins. You hardly remember the wins. I remember the losses.
And you got to have a short memory on all that.
You do.
Golf, tennis, whatever, win, lose, whatever. You forget that and you move on to the next one. You gotta live in
you're
the
getting
moment.
another one.
Brilliant.
That was a great advice, though. It's all in your head.
It's all in your head.
It's
Yeah.
all in your head. And
Yeah,
if
you can't let the doubt, the intrusive thoughts that they
but the
call
brain is so powerful.
the brain is so
if
powerful.
you think, there used to be a website. I don't know. It was like Living Sick, and it's kind of folks that I feel like I'm sick,
Mhm.
and they almost project it, and
Yeah.
it comes about. It's like a self-fulfilled prophecy,
Self-fulfilling prophecy,
right?
Yep.
You're talking about the eyes and how powerful the brain is, but that brain can work negatively
Mhm.
or positively
Yep.
for you, and that positive reinforcement can do so much.
Absolutely.
I think cancer patients, they say that that's one of the biggest things is attitude
Attitude.
going into
Yeah.
it. Now, listen, folks, I want you to know I've had family members that have passed away in cancer that have really positive attitudes. So I'm not laying it on you that if somebody passes from cancer that JB's over here telling you that they had a bad attitude. But I'm just saying that statistically speaking, that there has been some success, especially if your success rate is higher. It doesn't work for everybody.
Nope.
Fairness went out the window with Adam and Eve, so I
Right.
can't explain why bad things happen
Nope.
sometimes to good people.
But
But
bad
attitude
things
can
happen
happen.
here.
But attitude can happen.
good things happen in heaven. People
100%.
always,
Well, you can healing doesn't always happen on this side of
Right.
heaven.
yeah. God may
Sometimes
have another
we're
plan
here.
for you. He's ready for you to come over to the other side.
100%. 100%. What a great day for that.
Yep.
So I want to go to the last section. We're almost done here. This is the section that, again, it's we're just a $10 podcast, but if you want to send your questions in and you want the jabronis to answer them, Kevin and he doesn't know this, but he's going to help me answer this. We're going to throw this question out. This came in from a viewer.
Okay.
You can email us at $10podcast@gmail.com. That's the number 10, so $10podcast@gmail.com. Email us in. This is the question today. It says, Dear Jabronis, I'm 24. And I have a decision I need to make. I have 2 job offers. One has better benefits but less pay. One has more pay but less benefits. It has some benefits, but the package is less. What would you choose? Both jobs are in the same city.
Which job makes you happier?
I think you got to do a pro and con here, right?
Yeah.
This is a perfect example of taking a sheet of paper out here and whiteboard it, split it down the middle, pros and cons for each job, right? So you probably need 2 sheets of paper, or you can do them on the same.
It sounds like it can kind of even out.
It
either
seems
way.
like it could, but then you've got to see. What I would suggest for you is if everything's the same and you're 24, I'd probably go with the pay, because I'm a gambler. And I would say, statistically speaking, you're probably not going to need the benefits right then. You're not going to need the health and stuff right then. That's what I would say, statistically speaking. Now, I can't see the future. I don't know. This is all anonymous when you email us, so I'm not diving into some sort of HIPAA violations here. But if you do have that, then benefits may outweigh that. But because you're young, I would think that might be something I would look at. But I mean, if
it would be good, but as long as you.
The other thing I would say,
how much you like each job.
So that would be the other thing I'd say is that how were the interviews? So these are the pros and cons. So I'd ask myself, these are the questions you should be laying out, right? How did the interview go? Who had the better interview?
Yep.
Where's the more potential for advancement?
Right.
What's the future of the company? How healthy is that company looking? I mean, is it publicly traded, locally owned? Because maybe you can look into the health of it. Do you think it has more longevity? If you're looking, because this to me looks like at 24, you're trying to make some career choices,
right?
Beginning of career choice sort of things, and I get that. And now, if all things are the same, probably take the higher pay.
Yep.
Because let's face it, I mean, when you're working for someone else, aside from a guy like you that's a boss, or a guy like me that wants to help his employees really do well and really level up, in corporate America. I mean, in big jobs, they do not care about you.
They don't care.
They do not care about you. It's why it's so important. You got to just determine whether you want to be the cog in the wheel or the wheel.
Got to be the wheel.
Got it. Being the wheel is always better.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think that's probably right. We got to lay out pros and cons, and I think if you do that, you'll come to your conclusion.
Right.
I think so. What do you think?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, Kevin, it's been so much fun.
Hey, I appreciate it.
You can find,
awesome.
Kevin Wells. You can find him Wells Vision and Laser Eye Center, but it's wellsvisioncenter.com.
Right.
Wellsvisioncenter.com. You can find him. You got to listen. If you haven't had your eyes checked like I was, you got to get
them checked.
You got to get them checked. It's the number one thing people aren't doing.
Yeah.
The preventative on your eyes is so much. I mean, it's crazy because when you how many people do you see at 60 that they have a problem they never check?
A lot,
right?
Yep. And it's like
someone can be prevent. You can't do anything once it goes. You can't do anything about it. There's no eye transplant.
No eye
We haven't figured that one out yet. But man, it's so much fun. I really am so good. We've been talking about getting you on forever, and honestly, it's probably better. We keep getting more and more subscribers. You're coming at a great time for us here. Absolutely. Well, this is the section I like to call "Listen Up, Kids." Listen up, kids. Your vision is important. Having good eyesight is a blessing, and vision for your future though is also very, very important. Knowing what you want to achieve, where you want to be, and more importantly, what do you want to be known for is so very important. Write it down, make a plan, and execute it. Like Kevin said, it's all in between those ears. It's all in your head. And if you believe it, you can achieve it. But you've got to have it where you need to write it down, make a plan, and execute it. Or don't. I mean, what the hell do I know?
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid convos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.